Welcome to the Meltzone podcast. This is episode 69.
Nice.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Stefan. And on this episode, we are talking about stolen content on TikTok that a guy or a channel is just ripping off basically every 3D printing YouTube channel and putting like shorts on that on his or her TikTok. Then a bit of talk about new 3D model or creator subscription services that recently launched on Thanks and on Printables. What their unique selling points are, why they might have been released at the same point, and lots of other just like rambling around that. And then, of course, staying with Prusa, a bit of a controversy about input shaping and their speed benchy, where they released the G-code 4 and some people weren't happy with the marketing and things like that. You're gonna see or hear.
You need to play by the rules. Maybe a bit more on that topic. Could input shaping come to the Mini? Because technically it is capable of running the same code as the Mark IV. Anycubic is ripping off the Prusa slicer without publishing the source or even acknowledging that they have used the, albeit open source, code from them. And au contraire, E3D is having success with their patent strategy around Revo, and they have gotten CHT to license their tech to them for a first-party high-flow nozzle. As always, we do answer some questions about maker fairs or 3D printing events that are more local to us here in the EU and why they're not quite the same as the ones in the US. And fittingly to our episode number, Stefan and me, we're Tesla bros now.
I was kind of upset. Is it upset the right word? I think you said that you were trying to get a German not subtitles, a German audio track under your next video.
Ooh, yeah. So I tried that.
Okay.
It's not good. It is not very good. So YouTube didn't used to support this, right? So you could upload subtitles in various languages, or you could just upload subtitles in English and it would auto-translate or use the auto-generated ones. But now you can fully upload a second audio track to YouTube. And I tried that, and it does not work out. So it might work out better for your videos because you're not seen talking. But if you see me, like just if you're watching this on YouTube, just imagine this track and with your native language over it, with my mouth movements, gestures, everything still timing unchanged, but different language spoken by the same guy, no less.
Yeah,
just ended up looking super cheap. It again, the timing wasn't good like that. Nah. So I don't know, either full second German channel or not at all. So yeah.
Also, one of the reasons why I decided to start a second channel. At the point when I did it, I thought that this feature wouldn't happen in the near future.
Yeah, well, but YouTube's always difficult with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so a couple of years ago, I talked to a guy who used to work at a German, French, I think even at Arte or something like a German French TV company, and he told me about how he translated just scripts, and the first couple of ones that he did were so horrible because he wasn't able to put the sentences in a way that it would look natural when you just dub something over.
Yeah.
And the pacing wasn't right and things like that. And this was, it's so much easier if you're just doing everything in German again and just adjust timings and everything. Of course, then it's on a second channel. It maybe doesn't get as much traction, but it also has a ton of benefits, in my opinion. Even if it's just having two separate sponsors on a video. Having different links in the description, having the possibility to translate even graphs.
I think the different descriptions, you could already do translated descriptions with that translated subtitle sort of thing. But
so I did that in the beginning. I always also translated my description and my title to German, and people hated that. And they always commented, I thought this was a German video, and now you're tricking me.
Yeah, that's actually the thing I'm worried about too, if you're just doing that. The other thing that probably people who have YouTube set to English don't realize, but if Google thinks you're from Germany, you'll see those auto-translated titles on an English video or on a video that doesn't have any of the any spoken language at all. And those are always so poorly translated. Well, either auto-translated, I think Google Translate would even get it better, but it's some agency doing it that has never spoken German as a native language before, and it's like, how I making kimchi now. Basically, it's all the verbs are always off, the sentences don't make sense, and it's just like, they took the word, they translated it to German, and that's it. And it's just it seems like such bad content. It's those sort of videos I just don't watch because
So German content for you a bit postponed for the moment?
So the thing is, if I do start a second channel, I do want to have a bit of a backlog on there. I don't just want like one video. So I'm gonna have to figure out a workflow, since that just redubbing the video doesn't work. For me it's like so I translated a couple of videos. I want to do more, and I even reached out to a couple of guys helping me there, and I'm so sorry that I didn't follow that as much as I should, but I'm just currently drowning in work, and I desperately need a vacation next week, because, well, just with the amount of work that I'm currently having, like 2 days in my normal job and the rest of the week for like doing YouTube videos, translating a video for me, with like translating the script, doing doing voiceover again, cutting everything together, reorganizing clips and everything, new thumbnail, new description, yada yada yada, it's around, I'd say, like 10 or 15 hours of work. I would have said like 2 days. That seems realistic. The biggest part, actually, I think, is translating the script. And getting something that sounds good, which people, I don't think, realize. But writing a script, first of all, is a lot of work, and organizing your thoughts in a way that are going to sound good, and then translating it doesn't make it any easier. It's not like that's much less work. I've tried the ChatGPT translates. They're surprisingly good, but they're not good. They're not something that he would use like that. So you have to rework that too. I think with the realistic way forward is getting rid of scripts, just being more off the cuff. And actually, that's something you might be interested in as well. Resolve has a new editing tool for that. 18.5, the script-based ones. I used that for the last video, and it's not perfect yet, but it's so much better than going by audio tracks. So basically, it auto-generates a script for your A-roll shot, and you can just like in a text editor, you can select areas, you can say delete, you can say automatically delete silence, and it just inserts those portions you want to keep from that script into your timeline. Very, very good for unscripted stuff. And with that, it needs to work a bit better than it does now, but it's still in beta. And with that, I think unscripted videos are so much more plausible, because for me, if I do a script, it saves a lot of time in editing, because I don't have to like edit out all the retakes where I'm just thinking about stuff or reformulating stuff. And if I have a tool that does that for me more efficiently, then I don't have to spend the time writing the script, and then editing is faster too. So maybe I'm going to go scriptless. I don't know. And that would make it easier for German content as well, because you don't have to translate stuff. You can just make it up on the spot.
Just look at Der Bauer. I think he also doesn't use any scripts. He just does 2 shots all of the time, English, German, and then he's basically done with it. I kind of envy you for that skill. I don't know how well it would work for me, because just writing a script over a couple of days helps me just organize my thoughts and make sure that I'm not missing anything. And just doing everything with B-roll also helps me if I'm in the process of editing and I notice that something is weird, or I forgot something, or I want to add something, or I want to change something. It's very easy to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for me, it's also like I have. So I started working on the not a script for the last video, for basically trying to make bullet points, and I organize stuff, and I do keep notes, of course, while I work on stuff, and I try to create a structure, but then I have to sit down and really organize it. And at one point I caught myself like, hey, you're writing a script now. You're not just organizing bullet points, you're actually writing out a full script. And I was like, nope, gotta stop that, bullet points. So yeah, that of course you have to do with a topic like the last one was the E3D Revo high flow one. You can't just go in and start with a blank slate. But it's good that there's space to experiment. That YouTube's trying out new stuff, that they're not stalling, which is a good thing for Google and for YouTube. Well, Alphabet.
YouTube stories are going away.
What is YouTube stars? What?
That was the thing before Shorts, where you could post
stories.
Stories,
not stars. Okay,
stories.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone was. Some people were using them.
Yeah,
but
it was really confusing, to be honest. If I was in the app, you had the Shorts feed, and then you had the stories feed, and it was just too much. So
it was
I'm kind of happy.
What sort of content are you supposed to produce? Like regular length videos, shorts, stories? But stories are also short, but shorts don't go away after a week. Like, yeah. Anyway, talking about content, there's other ways to make content too, right?
Yes.
Much simpler than making your own scripts and preparing a topic.
Would you say much simpler? You need a different skill.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I've moved on to the next bullet point.
You already moved on to the next topic. Yeah, there's a much easier way to produce content. Just stealing it.
Well, you can call it stealing. You could also call it promoting other channels and fair use and remixing it. Yeah, there's another TikTok channel once again that is just ripping off YouTubers, 3D printing YouTubers, editing it down, adding some fancy text, and that's it.
Just everyone. So and I don't understand. That person, they're just like even uploading videos several times. I don't know if they're hoping that one of them gonna explode due to the TikTok algorithm and things like that. But yeah, it's just crazy. There's that one channel where you can find any 3D printing YouTuber, and they're just uploading like tens and tens of videos every day.
I've seen some like 5 or 6 year old live streams for myself, and they're just being chopped down. Like, but what are you gonna do? Like, it's TikTok. Like, are you gonna send a DMCA takedown for every single video? Like, you're not gonna dig through their content.
That is the reason why I put it in there, because I have a bit of experience with stolen content on Instagram, and Meta did a pretty good job there both times when I filed a takedown notice. So the first time, the whole channel got removed.
That's good. You see, that's
within a day.
That's something positive that's happening. Well, of course, you could take this entire thing from the other angle, like, hey, you're hindering remix culture, whatever, by sending these takedown notices. But the thing is, if you're just re-uploading somebody else's content and then just the video gets deleted, like, you didn't get punished. There's no consequences for that. But if the channel gets deleted, there's actually an incentive or a disincentive to upload or to create new channels for that.
Do that again.
Yeah.
I felt a bit bad in the beginning, but on the other hand, there was so much just like stolen content on there, and they were promoting their own links. So that's just basically just stealing from others. And the thing is, I thought, let's try that out also on TikTok. At first, it's already hard to even find how to file like a copyright claim on TikTok. I think I filed 2, one with just like one video and another one with a couple of videos in there. I think for a week or two, I didn't hear anything. I just thought, yeah, they just don't care at all. After like 2 weeks, I got the first email. Yeah, we couldn't identify the videos in your takedown notice because you put more than one link in there, even though they stated, yeah, if they're more than them, just put them like, I don't know. The other one, which just had one video in there, I got a response and they said, yeah, they took the video down.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
You see, I don't have a problem when it's a level playground, like when everyone's on TikTok and everyone's like freely sharing, let's call it, their content and remixing it. That's fine. Like if everyone can do that, okay. But on the other hand, like here, if I like include a 2-second clip from a Disney movie or whatever, I'm gonna get a cease and desist and a lawsuit from Disney. That's how German copyright works. So it's not a level and fair playing ground in that case. Yeah.
And so there are, I think, the two types of stealing channels. There are the ones who credit the creators, like the most basic thing, either put like source, CNC Kitchen,
right,
Tom's 3DP or something like that. And then there are the other ones who don't put any like source in there and just put their own affiliate links and shit in the description.
I mean, that's
and this was one of the second ones. So
yeah, affiliate links is always the way that this sort of stuff works out. They go, hey, buy our stuff through the links, and he's got like an eBay link in his bio.
Italian eBay link to, I don't know.
I think the Creality Sonic Pad. I did click it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, well, what are you going to do? The thing is, so with larger channels, and I would consider our two channels larger channels, the content ripoff is not that much of an issue because people are going to recognize the content and call them out for it. Yep. But for smaller channels, this actually is a real problem. When my channel was like a third or a quarter the size, I've had other channels re-upload my stuff and they got like 4 times as many views as the original video did, and that hurts. That's painful. Well,
I think that's often also a discussion with like reaction channels, when you have like big reaction channels doing a video on another video where the creator put a ton of work in there, maybe got some views, but like the reaction videos gets 10 times as many. Is that unfair? How transformative is the reaction channel? Just a guy like watching 10 seconds of a video and then commenting or laughing, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's
CGP Grey recently, I think, copyright struck a ton of reaction creators with a flag video, or especially one. Especially one creator, I think who did a really good, who does really good reactions on reactions, or he adds additional content. So CGP Grey was doing a video on how good every state flag in the US is, and the other guy just added additional content there and additional information. I think the channel was called like Flag Channel. I don't know, whatever. In such a case, I would say that it is really transformative, and this is okay. But where do you draw the border? That's the thing.
It's very, very murky waters, and it's again, it's unique to every jurisdiction you're looking at. So that it's totally different in Germany, in the EU, to where it is in how it is in China versus how it is in the US. It's not just different legislation, but it's also different mindset. So yeah. This episode of the Meltzone podcast is sponsored by Mintion and the BeagleCam V2. The BeagleCam is a combined printer host and time-lapse camera. It makes any Marlin-based 3D printer Wi-Fi capable, and you can find the full compatibility list on their website. It works with basically any printer that speaks G-code. You can use it to upload G-codes, start them, monitor your prints through the camera, you can get real-time information, and you can use it, of course, to create time lapses while your printer is running. You can use it in the cool layer-by-layer mode, you can use it free running, or if you don't have a printer connected, you can even use it to create time lapses just on a timer basis of anything you want. With the UV sensor add-on, it even works with SLA printers. As a printer host, it can automatically pause your prints if the printer reports an issue, but you can also monitor your prints from anywhere through the Beagle camera app. You can monitor your entire printer fleet because it supports multiple cameras in one handy overview, or you can also connect to the Beagle Cam directly on your local network. The Beagle Cam is a plug-and-play solution. You just plug in your printer here, you plug it into power, it has an SD card. It's a pretty simple thing. You can even focus the new one now, so you can put it really close to your printer and still get that nice crisp time-lapse with a bit of bokeh in the background. The new one now comes with a tripod thread, and you can either use the included tripod with a ball head to just plop it down next to your printer, or you can hook it up to your own mounting solution if you so desire. You can find more info on the BeagleCam V2 in the links in the podcast description show notes below. And again, thanks to Mintion for sponsoring this episode. But you know what could help with content theft is actually just giving out your content behind a paywall. So stuff we've seen, of course, with video content is Flowplane, for example, where people upload their stuff and then you have a Flowplane subscription. And you get somebody's content. But it's also moving into 3D printing designs. I'm on fire with these transitions. I hope you catch this one.
Yes.
It's also something that's now available with 3D printing parts. So both printables and Thangs have now launched a subscription service. And this is interesting because we've always sort of had 3D model or designer subscriptions through Patreon or what's the other one? OnlyFans? No, that was something different. But Patreon basically, where you have, hey, you sign up at this tier per month and you get access to these models. Now it's integrated into printables and Thangs, and you have some stuff to say about that, right?
Yeah, I think it's not yet implemented in printables. They just announced that this is going to be something, and the first interesting thing about that was I think at one day printables did the announcement with just a blog post. We're gonna have a subscription service. If you're a designer, if you're interested in that, approach us. You can be part of a beta program, so that your launch page is ready once we're launching the thing in full. And then just the next day, I think Thangs launched their subscription service. Both talk about, so I think with the rise of articulated models, companies realized how much money there can be made with just subscription service for 3D models. If you're just taking a look at the numbers of a couple of Patreon pages where they're selling really good models, and if you're signing up for a higher tier subscription, you get the license to print these parts and then even sell them in your Etsy shop. And some of these, they're just earning tens of thousands of dollars every month, which is crazy. So of course it makes sense for a platform like Printables or Thangs to kind of implement that as well, because Patreon is not made for 3D model subscription. I know that with a couple of creators I'm subscribed to, that they have Dropbox links which change every month, and just the ones who have a specific subscription tier or they're still subscribers, they get the new link and yada yada yada.
It's not very elegant.
And Printables and Thangs both say, okay, we are a model sharing website, we know that stuff very well, and we can help you guys out with hosting the models and then also giving access to the ones who are subscribed to your premium service thing.
So the cool thing that I'm seeing here is that they're basically taking Patreon out of the picture here, and Patreon is not a site with the best reputation. And especially recently with like fee restructuring and stuff, especially low subscription fee members, you actually get very little of what the member is paying versus how much Patreon pays you out or pays out to you or the creator. So
thanks are taking 8%. I think printables, they didn't state that yet.
So I've got a Tom's Hardware article open here. Printables is planning on 10%.
Okay.
So it does not include transaction fees from payment services. So yeah, there you have it again. If it's PayPal is like 35 cents per transaction plus however many percent. So if you have a $1 subscription, that's already going 35 cents going towards PayPal. So, but that's just what it. That's the monopoly of PayPal, etc. And also the Tom's Hardware article is clarifying the announcement was within 1 hour of each other.
Within 1 hour, okay, that was even closer.
So they must have had something prepared there.
So I knew that both were working on such a feature, but it's not a coincidence that they're releasing it at some point. I don't know if printables, if those guys noticed that Thanks are gonna do an official release that day and they wanted to be earlier, or if just printables released something and then Thanks just said, okay, we would have released it like next week, let's just do it now.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's just really funny.
So both of these models, both on printables and on Thangs, are to support specific creators, specific designers. Which is interesting in a way, because what I would have expected them to implement is something like a Spotify model or a YouTube Premium model, where you have a fixed subscription fee to
STL Flicks.
Yeah, but that was like specific. Well,
I think that was kind of similar.
Yeah, it was to specific designers that were uploading. Yeah, true. It was just a much smaller platform. But that sort of idea where you have I don't know, $10 a month, and then depending on whose models you download and use, that creator gets a portion of those $10 a month. That, I think, would have been more approachable for users and would actually get more users to sign up for that plan. Especially looking at, going off of Tom's Hardware article again. Who wrote this, by the way? Denise wrote that. Denise Petacci. The search function discoverability is different between these two. So Thanks, whenever you search for something, is going to list both paid and free models. And printables, at least currently in the current state, is actually going to hide all the models you don't have access to. So you don't even know that there's a model that you could subscribe to or subscribe for and then get that if you just search for something. Which seems odd to me, because how would people discover creators then?
That sounds weird to me, because of course you want to use like the search and because they're taking their share, they want to promote these models, and they even get like a preview of the models, and let's just say, okay, if you want to have it, you need to subscribe to that certain creator.
True. It sucks when it's like, oh yeah, you get to the download page and you've already settled on this thing, and then the download button is hidden behind it and it doesn't tell you it's paid anywhere else. That sucks. But the way that Thanks seems to do it is right in the search. It says, hey, this is view related download AR for the open ones, and then join for the ones that have an actual payment option required.
What I can really wrap my head around is if a subscription model for the creators is better than a pay by use model. Many designers seem to go with the subscription service, if you're taking a look at Wexter, Eastman, and those guys. But I don't know, sometimes I would just rather spend $10 on a specific model than subscribing to one of them, and then usually in the beginning you don't even get access to the whole library, which is kind of sucks.
I mean, that's right. The thing with subscriptions is they're just happening in the background. Like, they're going to continue, and both from I guess the different things from a user to a creator thing or perspective. the user just gets a continuous stream of all the models and doesn't have to think about it. And for the creator, I think the bigger thing is it's a stable source of income. So for people who are actually full-timing or investing significant time, like you are taking time off of your job, for me it's my full job, anything that is a subscription or a Patreon monthly sign-up just gives you peace of mind, or ease of mind, peace of mind. It's just such a maybe not even from the actual earnings you're getting, but just knowing, hey, I'm having this backlog or this pool of subscribers, and even if 20% jump off next month, I'm still going to be fine. If it's something where it's like, yeah, people are actually having to buy stuff, then you always have to worry about, like, hey, are my models going to be good enough next month? Again, it's a more abrupt and harsh transition there.
Yeah.
And overall, I think people are going to spend more on subscriptions.
Yeah, definitely. I think comparing the two platforms again, of course, both kind of take the same share, and they're both saying that they know how to manage files and provide them in a proper way. Both say that they are already platforms where people are searching for models, so it's the best way to place models, because people are already there for searching something, and finding models on on Patreon is really hard. But the one thing that I find really interesting about Thangs is Thangs are crawling the whole web for models, and one of their unique selling points is if you're a creator on that platform, Thangs tries to make sure that nobody re-uploads your model, because who is currently preventing you from re-uploading your Patreon subscription model to any other platform?
But nobody is, but there are some takedown processes in place.
But you need to find them at first.
Yeah,
and I think this is one of the unique selling points of Thangs, where they're saying, if you're a creator on our website, we're crawling everything. We're making sure that if everything pops up, we're going to find it, and we're going to provide you an easy way to find it quickly and maybe delete that. I think that's kind of an interesting thing.
Oh, it's really good. It's a really good feature. And yeah, again, tying into what is a remix, what is a ripoff, what are they going to do with people who have remixed their designs? Same thing. So
this is the thing. So I talked to the Thanks guys when I was in Loveland,
Colorado,
and they told me. So of course it's easy to find someone who just re-uploaded the model. Literally re-uploaded the model.
You just go byte by byte if it's the same file. Then
exactly, byte by byte, file size, vertex position, and stuff like that. The Thanks guys are saying that they're really taking a look at the geometry. So even if somebody remeshes a model, they somehow are able to find it. And yeah, of course, I think that's a really good unique selling point. That's
been the whole thing with like our search. The thing of Thangs was that they have a geometry based search engine where it was going to show you similar models that have similar geometry. I've tried it a couple times. It works all right, but for finding like remeshed files, it might be a good option. Yeah.
I try to use Thangs from time to time, but I honestly don't really like their search function. Since they're just crawling everything, you're finding so many models there which are just not made for 3D printing. You find GrabCAD files on there, which is nice, which is kind of nice. But if I'm on Thingiverse, if I'm on printables, usually the files that are on there are made for 3D printing. Maybe I should use things more, but this is just one takeaway from my side. What else did I want to say? Yeah, I think what will be interesting is, and we talked about that already in the past, how both of these platforms are handling licensing. Are they providing an easy way for the creators to have kind of a similar license where it says, okay, if you're in that tier, you can download the models, you can print them yourself. If you're in another tier, you are allowed to sell the printed parts. I think this is something that currently is just like managed by if you are in that tier, and I hope you're not doing anything else, but if they're maybe providing like contracts or just a better way to handle that, I think this would be something really nice.
Some pre-made framework.
Exactly.
It
Yeah, it's a good term. So
that it looks like there are different tiers on both of these platforms. And if I look at that sample again.
Well, so Thangs already launched their service, and there are a couple of featured creators there. There is Zach Friedman with his the Gridfinity, there you go.
Okay, I thought those were open models, which is why I was
they are, but I think with his membership, you're getting like special models now.
Right.
And he has tiers 10, 25, and $100 a month, which is something.
Oh, I mean, if people want to pay it, fine.
Yeah. Oh, Chap, Filament Friday is also on there. Become a member, $10 a month. Okay. Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
$10 a month. So yeah, so the creators are able to choose their levels in a similar way as it's possible on Patreon.
Yeah, I'm not sure if $10 a month is going to establish itself, because that is quite a lot of money for a single designer.
But it kind of seems so. If I'm currently looking through the designers, I think this is kind of the minimum fee that they're charging.
True, but I just don't know if people are going to be willing to pay that, because that's like a Netflix subscription.
Amazon
Prime is a bit more, I think, but
I don't know if that makes sense for the ones who want to print the parts and sell them on Etsy.
I mean, for those folks, $10 a month is fine.
That's totally fine.
Or even if you do $35 a month. But if it's just a person with a 3D printer who's into it and wants to print that thing, are you going to sign up for a $10 a month subscription? I don't know. So like you said, maybe the buy once or own forever kind of thing.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. But maybe one last thought. I'm pretty sure like the files you download just for your personal use, you are going to be allowed to print them even after your subscription has expired. They're not going to nuke themselves off of your hard drive. Though the commercial license, I'm pretty sure, is going to expire once you cancel your subscription.
Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, that's that. Cool. I mean, the market's gonna market, right? The market's gonna do its thing. If this is something that people want, because there's also an advantage for users, right? If you have more designers that can actually reasonably or can actually justify spending the time on creating high quality models, then there's gonna be more high quality models out there.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be interesting to see if some designers with a big following gonna transition over to Thangs or printables at some point, if they're gonna be on both platforms.
What was that horrible Microsoft streaming platform that contracted streamers to be like exclusive on their platform, and then the entire platform went down? No. But Twitch is Amazon.
Yeah.
Was it Mixer?
Mixer, yeah, something like
that. Yeah. We'll see how things progress.
We will.
Speaking of Prusa, let's do our mandatory one Prusa topic an episode.
At least one.
At least one, yeah, we've already done half of one. Prusa has finally released, it's not been that long, but Prusa has released a input shaping preview, I think, for the Mark IV. That's a feature that was promised on release, but the Mark IV, the initial ones, did not ship with that feature even developed fully yet. So they had a couple demo builds, and I did see a fast Mark IV printing while I was there right after the release. But it was not something they felt was ready to ship yet. And now it is shipping, and people are printing fast benchies. For some reason, people are getting upset.
Yeah, people are getting upset. So did you install the alpha version?
I did not have the time yet. Okay. I've been working on that last video about the E3D high flow. And I just didn't have time to mess around with Mark IV.
Me neither, unfortunately. So I think one of the things was they released the alpha, and then they said, whoever is going to post like the first video of there wasn't included like 12-minute or something minute benchy, is going to get like 100 Prusa meters or something like that. And so the thing is, there are speed benchy rules. So currently there's a big comparison happening. Who's gonna print like the fastest benchy? I hope that's not gonna demonetize our video. The $20 we were making with every episode. So the thing is, there's speed benchy rules. There's a set layer height, a set infill thing that you can kind of compare printers and profiles with each other. And the speed benchy cheat code that Prusa provided did not use these settings. Yeah. So it was a fast benchy.
I think they even mentioned like in the initial post, like, hey, we're not doing speed benchy rules yet, but this is a 12-minute benchy.
Okay. I think. I even didn't read that, so I think it wasn't really obvious for everyone. And I think that was kind of confusing and pissed people off, because they just said, okay, this is kind of false advertising because everyone knows the speed benchy rules, and if you want to compare printers with a speed benchy, you should stick to that rules. And this 12-minute benchy is more marketing as it is like showing the real performance of your machine.
Okay.
And I kind of do understand that. I seriously do understand that, because I worked a bit on speed benchies. I still didn't manage to print a sub 10. Did I? No, I think I didn't manage yet to print a sub 10-minute benchy, which was, I think, my goal with the War on Zero 2 years ago. Anyways, currently, many who are involved in 3D printing and trying to print faster and faster are comparing printers with like benchy speeds. And if you then have a company telling you that this is like a 12-minute benchy, you kind of assume that it sticks to these rules, so the results are comparable. It's a bit confusing. And
at least, yeah.
So
some of the rules here are normal filaments, maximum 0.5 millimeter nozzle or line width size, 0.25 millimeter layers, 3 top and bottom layers, 2 walls, 10% infill, and it must be dimensionally accurate within reason. Bonus points if it looks good. And the machine must be powered by stepper motors, which is an interesting thing because, I mean, yeah, well, okay. That's like saying, hey, only Core XY machines can enter. But that's not to the point. But yeah, there are set rules, kind of to give you an expectation of what the benchy is going to look like what qualities it's going to have. And yeah. I see the point. If it's advertised for being a speed benchy, then yeah. Oops, sorry. If it's advertised for being a speed benchy, then that's bad. If it's not, it's still confusing.
Yeah. So that was the thing with the speed benchy. I seriously want to install the firmware, but yeah, unfortunately, gonna be on holiday next week. But I'm really looking forward to. So far I really enjoyed working with a Mark IV. It's been working really well. The only thing is that all of the time I print something in parallel on my Bamboo Lab X1, it just feels so slow. The Mark IV feels so slow, even though the print results are gorgeous.
And mine does print worse than the Mark III does.
Seriously?
Does have a bit more stepper artifacts, but that might be something that I'm gonna have to look into because there was a batch with the wrong steppers shipped. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to check my serial numbers because that was something that was throwing me off. But yeah, mine's been working great too. I've not been printing much, but when I did print stuff, I did print it on the Mark IV, and that's been working out fine.
Yeah.
But I'm still underwhelmed by the Mark IV in a way, but that's something once I dig in that I can get into more.
Yes. But being underwhelmed, but hoping for being overwhelmed is the question if input shaping is also going to happen on the Prusa Mini, because it also has like a 32-bit board. The firmwares on both machines should be on a very similar basis, and at some point, I don't know, just like a config file change should distinguish the firmware of a Mini from a Mark IV, I would think. So I was asking myself, do you think we're gonna see input shaping on a Mini, and does it even make sense?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure, though. I'm gonna have to check the original video I did with the Prusa guys, the interview again. I'm pretty sure Mini and Mark IV are the same code base, just like Excel. It's literally the same firmware basically running behind it. Yeah. And I did look up the exact processors that they're using for the Mini and for the Mark IV. And the Mini uses an STM32F407 and the Mark IV uses an F427, which are very similar MCUs. So, of course, they're going to have a bit more in terms of peripherals and stuff, but they're clocked pretty much at the same speed. And overall, they're very, very similar processors. So from a processing perspective, I think the Mini should absolutely be able to handle input shaping. Maybe one thing to note here, with the Mark IV, with the input shaping shown there, it's all running on the 32-bit printer MCU. And it's not like it's the same code as in Clipper, but in Clipper, it runs on a separate Raspberry Pi that prepares all that data for your slower printer processor. But in the Mark IV, there is no, Linux system. It's just a 32-bit MCU. So I don't think from that perspective there's anything that's keeping the Mini from running input shaping. There might be, because it's just a less mechanically rigid platform. That might be more of a challenge to tune it in, especially at different heights where like the leverage is way different. That might be more challenging, but I don't think that's an unsolvable problem.
Yeah.
So, might be something that's coming. It would be a pretty big feature to like retroactively add to a machine that's already, I don't know, the Mini Plus. How old is that? 2 years easily? 3 years?
Yes.
I don't know if they're going to do that. The
question is if it's just like a frequency setting that you need to adjust and select your input shaper. Would it harm them just giving users the possibility to activate input shaping?
Well, it's development effort, of course, for Prusa to tune it in. And if there is the potential for machines to print worse or to shake themselves loose or whatever, I don't think they would be very keen to put that out there. Understandably. So I don't know. I've not talked to them about it, but I think it should be doable. The platform is not that bad, that wobbly, that input shaping wouldn't work, and the electronics, the processing power is there as well.
Maybe it's gonna be a feature of the Mini too. Well, I just an hour ago I talked to a friend who has a Prusa Mini print farm. And since Prusa raised the prices, I think also for the Mini recently or at some point, he said that the Mini is gonna get less and less attractive for many at that price point and what its capabilities are. It's working really well for him. He has, I think, 10 of them printing parts. But if you're thinking about for kind of almost the same money, you can get Bambula P1P or some other machines who also seem to be kind of reliable. Buying a Prusa Mini is getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah. So I just looked up the Prusa site. So currently it's selling for 489 euros for the semi, so for basically the style that in the 3 ships, where it's 2 parts that you screw together. 489 euros for that, for 59 for the full kit. But they actually quote my review at the bottom there. And in the review, I'm saying, hey, you're not going to find a better printer for under $400. So it did come up in price quite a bit. And of course, the market has changed since I made that review. When was that video? God, they've got clickable links, which I appreciate. 2 years ago.
I thought it was more expensive, but yeah, okay. So it's still under $500. But
August 2020 when I reviewed the Mini.
It's almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, so 489. It's
Is that already taking account your? I have 459. Black orange. 489 euros. Yeah, okay, so almost $500. Interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. See if that's something that they're gonna put in there, or if that's gonna be one of a feature. If we are at some point gonna see a Prusa Mini 2 or something like that, is a Prusa Mini 2 still something that is feasible in the current market?
It's gonna have to be like way more cost optimized. But also, I mean, what Prusa did mention is now that the Mark IV is out, they're gonna be experimenting more on printer designs. So that's basically implying that there's going to be a different printer line. I mean, people were disappointed that the Mark IV wasn't a Core XY, and it's like, well, it's the i3 line. That's just the design that printer has. It's sort of hinting at a Mini XL, kinda.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the way the market is going anyway.
Yeah. I think so as well. I don't really know why they haven't. Maybe this is something that they're working on. Haven't put out They have the Prusa XL Mini with their wall of printers.
Yeah,
there are single head Core XY printers in there, and why not gonna sell them separately? They look really nice. They're also a bit smaller. They just have like one tool head. People gonna buy them. People would buy them. I think this would have actually been an even smarter decision instead of having a Mark IV, just having like a Core XY. I think that would have sold way better.
I think you can maybe buy them by themselves, but I'm not sure. And I'm probably not going to be able to Google that real quick.
Yeah, the wall of printers is honestly kind of cheap. I think the wall of printers with like 10 machines or something like that is less than like $40,000 if I'm just thinking about what
that's
other
basically the price of like an Ultimaker, right?
Yeah, that's 1.5 Ultimakers.
Not the same, so it's pretty cheap for what it is. Though at those levels of pricing, like stuff gets pretty insane. Yeah, couldn't find it if it's available, but I thought they were selling it individually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're not, but anyways.
Yeah.
Cool.
A bit of an extended. Maybe let's make this one short. Another manufacturer is using Prusa Slicer as a base for their slicer, and they're getting lazier and lazier. And in this case, it's Anycubic.
Yeah,
which has discovered that you can do Control F and then you can hit the tab for replace all. But
replace Prusa with Anycubic.
This slicer copyright by Anycubic Research.
2016 until 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a recent uproar on Twitter, and also Joe ranted quite a bit that Anycubic. I haven't really looked at how much of a reskin, or if they even did reskinning of Prusa Slicer. But Anycubic basically took Prusa Slicer, searched and replaced Prusa with Anycubic, and then put that out in the wild and didn't even credit Prusa for being the base of that. And I think this was the beginning, and then things popped up, and they stopped providing the binaries for AnycubicSlicer. They apologized for it. I think it's not yet available. So, oh no, in the beginning, they released AnycubicSlicer, the binary, without crediting Prusa, and they didn't release the source code. I think this is how it started, and then they quickly put the source code out, and people noticed that just anything with Prusa was replaced by Anycubic, which was kind of hilarious. And then they took the binary down, and I think it's not fully resolved yet. But
so
it just
GitHub for Anycubic 3D with the AnycubicSlicer is a FAT 404.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I mean, from a perspective of, is this right or wrong? Because clearly, it's if you're not crediting, you need to credit with GPL license code. The thing is, though, it really doesn't matter what the license is and what the company is doing right or wrong. It's, do people care? Like, do customers stop buying Anycubic products because of this? And I don't think people will.
90% don't care. Because in the end, like,
that's optimistic.
price and performance. Yeah, it's probably optimistic. And I think it makes a difference if influencers and Joel directly said that in the beginning, okay, guys, as long as you're doing that, I'm not going to continue working with you guys. I mean, reduces coverage of products and impacting them in the way, but if, like, not everyone does that, customers don't care. Unfortunately,
customers don't care, and I used to be with printer reviews. I used to be a lot more keen on seeing, hey, are they releasing their Marlin source code? Are they mentioning that it's Marlin? The slices they're giving, it's Cura based back then. I was a lot more verbal about stuff like that, and the feedback was just always like, yeah, we don't care. People do not care whether, like, open source licenses, and it's as simple as we ship with Marlin, we release our modified version of Marlin. That didn't happen, and people simply didn't care. And if you can't get people to care at that level, like, I think that fight is lost, to be honest. I think, and this is going to be the next video I put on my channel, because I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't think open sourcing is something that is still working. And the core to this is, if you put it this way, in a way where, open source company, let's say Prusa, you buy a Mark IV for $1,200 or however much it costs, I don't know, but if effectively $400 of those $1,200 are going to their direct competition, is to going towards subsidizing Anycubic, Reality, Bamboo, and giving them free code for their slicer to base on. It's saving them so much work to not have to create their own slicer in that case. And the Prusa customers are paying for that. If you put it that way, it is incredibly stupid. It does not make any sense in A, keeping a company alive, and B, in, like, justifying that extra cost to your customers. Why would you want to like, gift money to the competitors whose products you aren't even buying? And the thing is, it has become a one-way road, basically, where there's companies who are on the giving end and there's companies who are on the receiving end, and very few are still doing that two-way thing. Prusa Slicer and Cura, they do continuously point it out. Some features from Prusa Slicer go into Cura and vice versa. That's great. But then there's other companies who are, dare I say, leech off of that ecosystem and reap the profits without giving back. And honestly, I think it is stupid of Prusa to still enforce open source as much as they are. Just my 2 cents there. More detailed thoughts on that soon. But it's sad to see, but it's just my experience that people don't vote with their wallets. People vote with whatever is, or vote with their wallet, and they go towards the thing that gives them the most bang for their buck for themselves. And that altruistic sort of thing where like, oh, but you're funding an open source ecosystem. Nobody does that. People say they do, but they don't. Yeah.
Of course, you could argue in a way. Also, Prusa is profiting from open source because they can easily like implement other ideas into their slicer. But yeah, in the end, it's a question how much of those features are really like based on something open source-ish.
I mean, at this point,
but currently, for example, I think what currently makes Prusa Slicer really interesting are the really well-working tree supports. This is something where they benefited of the work from Cura and the Munich guy whose name I don't remember, who made the tree supports better.
Yeah.
If they would not be open source, they would not be able to implement that. Just look at Simplify 3D at the moment. They just released 5.1 with groundbreaking features, which is ironing and not moving nozzle over the surface that it leaves a track. But you can say, I think they kind of struggle that they need to do everything by themselves at the moment. And if you're not putting like a ton of money in that, developing that takes a while, and you just, and the competition is running away.
I mean, honestly, I don't think that Simplify 3D have to do everything themselves when they can just look at code that somebody else is putting out there, and not implying that they're just copying it, but you can at least get yourself inspired by how stuff works and how stuff is implemented. And also, they don't have that synergy of like the slicer sells the printer.
Yeah.
And the printer then funds the slicer. They don't have that circular economy within themselves. But yeah. My worry is just that it's, again, one way, that resources in the form of well-working code are flowing away from those who spent the money on it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing coming back.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Scott Nathane, main developer of Marlin, has even recently posted like, hey, funds are running low. I'm going to have to see how much longer I can do this. Not literally, I think, but maybe somebody has the tweet for that posted below. So,
well, Marlin is not cool anymore. Everyone wants Clipper at the moment, so I see why Marlin kind of struggles.
But still, what was it? Was it the Snapmakers? Yeah, Snapmakers use Marlin too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I misunderstood this, but they recently, I think like 1 or 2 weeks ago, they proudly posted, hey, we're now releasing our Marlin source code. Like, that's something that's special. No, that is something that is required for you to use Marlin in the first place, or to ship products that use Marlin.
Yeah.
And like, you've been using Marlin this entire time and told nobody? Like, yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. I'm sure lots of printers are running Marlin, either without publishing anything or without the user even knowing. Search and replace Marlin with whatever, and they're also not funding the project. They're just using the code because it's free.
But what is not free is if you want to put if you want to get a Revo nozzle, because Revo nozzles are quite expensive, and there aren't any there shouldn't be any third-party Revo nozzles because the design is design patented.
Yeah. And here we are, the exact opposite, though not technically. Those patents are still open source. It's just open source with like a big hindrance to using it. It's working for E3D. Right? E3D have gone from, hey, the V5 is like completely open source, to the V6 is like, yeah, we're going to publish the dimensions, but not like actual manufacturing drawings because like you don't need those, right? To Revo being like completely locked down. There are some drawings of Revo, which is like the reference length of the shoulder to the nozzle tip. That's the one dimension they give you.
And the dimensions of the cold side. And
yes, because that you're allowed to implement.
Yeah.
But the nozzle itself, like, completely locked down. And with the recent, so first of all, yeah, the nozzles that E3D sells, those are the only ones you're officially allowed to get. And E3D, I know, are keen on defending their trademark and their intellectual property. So even with AliExpress, they're getting nozzles and stuff taken down. Or at least it was with Titan, Himera, some extruders. I think that they were successful with even getting stuff removed from AliExpress. Respect there. But what my sort of main takeaway with the patent situation around Revo is like the CHT nozzle on V6. That's something that 3D Solix and Bontech as the manufacturer could just make. They could make a nozzle with an M6 thread in the 8 millimeter. It's 8 millimeter, right? Yeah, the slice engineering ones are 7. And a hex on the top, and then they could just manufacture that and everyone was able to buy it for their V6s. Now, with Revo, they can't make that nozzle themselves. So I'm pretty sure that put E3D in a, let's say, advantageous negotiation situation where they can say, hey, guys, you want to license this to us? By the way, you're not going to be able to make your own, so either you license it to us or there's not going to be a CHT on this great new platform that we're putting out. So patents are working, right? It's a successful model. It's been proven again and again. And honestly, I don't think we should blame companies at this point anymore to do something that a company is required to do, to create value for their shareholders. That is like the number one goal of any company.
Yeah, and just to stay alive. I honestly would not have expected that this is going to happen, especially since I think at the beginning of this year or last year we talked. Oh no, that was last year. We talked about how E3D tried to files something that the 3D Solix patent is too general and they wanted to get it basically removed. So I thought those guys were enemies, to be honest. So I was really surprised. So and I was really interested how they're getting around that patent with their high flow thing. I know I have seen the patents from E3D on the high flow technology, and I was really excited to see how the Revo nozzle's gonna look on the inside. But when I saw the first pictures of Revo high flow and they told me that they licensed the technology from Bontech and 3D Solix, that really surprised me. I thought that would not have happened after everything that I at least had the impression that E3D tried to get rid of the CHT patent.
I mean, if they're planning to have some CHT-like nozzle on their system, of course it's cheaper for them to not have to license it if the patent doesn't exist anymore. So, second best option, license it. And create an ecosystem where it's easier for you to license stuff because the person or the company you're licensing from doesn't have a choice. And
in the end, are not both winning because 3D Solix and Bontech, they're getting a bit of money for just licensing it out, and E3D has the opportunity to sell a high flow nozzle, which otherwise they wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, companies are winning for sure. It's the consumer who probably isn't winning, but that's arguable too, because now you're saying, hey, if this wasn't patented and so locked down, like, the innovation wouldn't have happened. That's the general argument that is always being made. Well, Brave New World.
Yeah, Brave New World.
Should we answer some community questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
On this positive note. Marcel is asking, hey guys, why don't you cover some events in the EU? Are there some interesting ones more locally? Cheers from Poland. It's interesting. Local seems to have a different definition in the EU versus in the US, where like a local event is, I'm going to drive like 18 hours, which people are doing for Murph and stuff. But there are some good events in the EU. Yes, of course we have the big trade shows, the more B2B focused stuff. Forum next.
TCT Birmingham.
He was asking about EU.
Rapid. Oh yes, EU. Sorry, Birmingham, you're out. Rapid in Erfurt.
We've got the 3D Meetup Sweden.
We've got Prague Maker Fair, which is happening next weekend.
Oh, why
Or
do I
2
not?
weeks?
No, why do I should?
Yeah,
open up
I'm
Twitter
also
more.
not invited.
I did not get an official invitation either, but
I'm happy to hear that.
maybe I can take a quick road trip there without having to plug in. But that's going to be the next thing.
Yes.
Maker Fair
Events.
Prague. I think that was before COVID was the last one, and then they kind of paused.
Maker Fair Prague is 10th of June, so that is next week Saturday.
Huh.
Or this week Saturday, if you're hearing that in
This
the first week of June.
This podcast is going to come out a bit later than it was recorded.
Maker Fair Vienna is this Saturday at the time of recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Munich Maker Fair. I don't know if they're still putting that on. I think they are. But yeah, we've got Maker Fairs, but we don't have that many like 3D printing specialized events happening. The big ones, Merv, Earth, all the other Remurfs, those are all US. Of course, there's going to be the Sanjay Mortimer Rep Festival. When is that? Probably also
It's
around
in
the corner.
December, I think first week of December.
I thought that was way earlier. Okay, I got that wrong. Technically not EU, but like localish, more local than the US Smurfs.
2nd of December.
Okay. I thought that was
And why we're
close.
not covering them? So I covered Form Next last year.
Was
I
I
honestly
there? No, I was not there.
You weren't there.
No.
I have not been to any Maker Fair in my entire life.
Oh well, you will be to the. You'll be visiting the what's it called?
OpenSource.
Open
But that is not
source.
a Maker Fair. That is a
Well, it's in the
fair
spirit.
for makers.
I really enjoyed the Bay Area Maker Fair that was at that 1 year. That was way much to take in. It was just such a huge event. The smaller ones, the smaller Maker Fairs, for us as like business trip things, there's usually not that much in the term of 3D printing. There's a couple interesting projects, but in the end, you get maybe 3 videos out, and for those, you really have to scrape. So it makes sense to go to the larger events that are 3D printing specifically focused. So that is the US events for the most part.
It is. And it's always hard to get into a conversation on, especially on a German event, because everything is so formal. Sometimes it's really nice. But
the trade
it's
shows
just,
you've been to, yes.
Trade shows especially, but just like even with other Germans, it's always a bit weird with the formalism and stuff like that. And this is the reason why I enjoy covering these events in the US, because it's a different vibe.
True. But it's Maker Fairs are pretty much what you're looking for with that.
Yeah.
Maker Fairs do have a much more relaxed vibe, even in Germany. The Maker Fair Prague, the one. Was there even a second one? I think there only was one, right? No, there were 2, at least.
Yeah.
There were 2. But the one that I've been to, the language barrier was pretty interesting, because in the EU, of course, you have not just one language that spans the entire continent. You have one language every 5 hours of driving, basically. So Vienna, they speak kind of German. Czech Republic, Prague, of course, Czech. Some people speak English, but some people you just can't have a conversation with, because they don't understand. Well, they understand you. I don't want to. No, you don't understand them, because, as always, just with Germans trying to talk English, everyone's shy. Once you point a camera in their face, like, the English does not come out as fluently as you would need for a video. So you have to approach it differently. And yeah, talking to people, if it's not your local language or your native language, can be tough. Like I said, English does kind of work, but people are shy. Sweden's kind of cool. Sweden seems to be very international, or people seem to be speaking English quite fluently. But yeah, Germany not so much. Italy, Rome. I mean, Make a Fair Rome. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's different cultures and it's a more local event.
Yeah.
Okay, so why did I mention I was gonna maybe hop over to the Make a Fair Prague? Yeah, Prague. We did a stupid today, both of us.
Well, I already did it last Friday.
And
I wouldn't call it stupid.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
The weird thing is, it's strange times we live in, when the most financially responsible decision when it comes to cars is either leasing or buying a 50,000 euro Tesla.
Yeah.
So yeah, my second company car lease is coming to end this year, and because incentives are running out, and because the market is just stupid right now, I saw you were getting a Tesla Model Y on a spontaneous notice, and I was debating what I was going to do, whether I was going to get like an MG or do something else. But then, like, the European models are all kind of suck for how much they are. Yeah, I just went like, let's get a Tesla too.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk can go bleepable content here, but the cars are just so far ahead of everything else out there.
The cars, yeah. It's interesting to drive them. So, first,
I don't think I've driven one. I bought this thing sight unseen.
Yeah.
But
that's the reason why my wife told me, okay, before we're going to buy a Model Y, we need to make a test ride. And that is honestly really easy to do. You just go on the Tesla website and put in your phone number in there and where you're living, and it will show you like Tesla centers around, and they usually have like free spots the next day or even that day, which I would not have expected. So yeah, I did a test drive with a Model Y last Friday, and I spontaneously leased a Model Y long range. But it's a sensible decision, because Germany has tax incentives and
incentives. So it's not just
tax
incentives. It's also literally a cash incentive that you're getting.
Yeah.
And if you're leasing or buying a car as a company, those run out, I think, 1st of September.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
that's $4,500 that we're currently still getting.
Exactly.
And I wanted to have an EV for years now.
I've had an EV for years now, both the good and the bad.
And I was really jealous, to be honest. So, for me, it was a decision getting rid of my Golf variant station wagon.
It's a wagon, yeah.
Yeah, station wagon, which I really enjoy driving. But if I just take a look at how much I pay for the lease now, I think my Golf it's similarly expensive. No, it's more expensive, because I'm not getting any tax incentives with the car that I have. This new car will be my company car, so I don't pay any income tax on that, and it's tax deductible and yada yada yada. So it is a sensible decision for me to get that car, even though it's an expensive car, and I feel kind of bad for that and feel like being like a rich ass whatever. But
it's the cheapest thing you can do.
Which
is crazy. It's stupid. It's the if you have that sort of financial freedom to make those decisions, they pay themselves. The incentives are stupid. They incentivize those who already have the cash to spend. They give them free money, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So
and at first, yeah.
Yeah, you get a Model Y lease. I was like, First of all, I don't want an SUV. I'm not getting an SUV, even though the Y is like crossover, sure. But and also with the lease on the Leaf that I had, then the 208, and then the replacement 208, where they screwed me over with like taking way too long, and then you have to shuffle for, hey, the lease is gonna run out. What car am I getting next? Oh, it's, by the way, it's like a year wait if you order one now, and then it might show up 3 months early or 3 months late, and now we might have two cars. Just the entire lease thing, and then you scrape the rims. That's $2,000 down the toilet. It was just like, I'm just gonna buy this on the company. I'm just gonna own it, and then it's reasonably, depreciation is reasonably low. I know that is such a privileged position, just being able to say, hey, I'm gonna buy a Model 3. But this is like company shuffling money. This is the cheapest, most cost-effective thing I can do. And yeah, if once you calculate it in like VAT and income tax and all that stuff, that car is costing me very little. So it's the sort of things you can do as a company, but I would never. I used to laugh at people who were buying brand new cars or who were leasing cars. Like, look at that loser thinking he needs to spend that sort of money on a new car. And I was driving my beater Renault, and I love that thing. I would still buy it, but it just does not make financial sense to get a beater car or to get anything that is cheaper if you have the German tax code, basically. Yeah. if you can lease it or buy it on the company. Yeah. So sorry for sounding like rich asses here, but we're just being cheap. We're literally just being cheap here.
And the thing is, Teslas are basically the only cars that you currently can get without like a half year or a year waiting period. So this was also one of the decisions. I thought about getting a Hyundai Ioniq 5 or 6, but
great cars
they
too.
Have 8 to 10 month delivery time, are less fuel efficient, are more expensive. So, and a Tesla, you can just, I started the lease like last Friday, and with a bit of luck, I'm gonna get it tomorrow. That's 7 days in between. You're gonna get yours next week, which is also like less than 7 days.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Hey, they even gave a discount because it was one that I didn't configure that they just had in stock. So.
Yeah. Oh, and I, since you used my affiliate code, I got 2,000 kilometers of free supercharging.
Yeah, we're gonna drop our referral codes in the description below.
Yeah, if you're buying a Tesla or a Powerwall or anything Tesla related, use our links down below, so we can get free charging at the supercharger. You don't even need it. You have 30 kilowatt peak on your roof.
True. I'm never. And with the long range, I think I can go pretty much everywhere within like comfortable driving distance and back, and not have to recharge.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sorry.
And again, I have zero respect for Elon Musk, like nothing, and I feel bad for getting a Tesla, but things you have to do.
That's also the problem that my wife has, but I could convince her that it's a sensible decision, even if you feel a bit bad about it. But it's the only sensible decision.
True.
All right.
It's the same as with open source and patents. And so the circle closes.
Yeah. So if you want to support us, use our Tesla affiliate links down in the description.
Use Stefan's preferably. He needs it more than I do.
If you want to support Tom, there is his Patreon link also down below. If you have any questions, put them down in the video description, preferably on YouTube, because that's what we're usually reading. If you have other questions, you can also tweet them at us at the Meltzone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time, Tom.
Thanks for taking the time before your vacation, Stefan. And I hope you have a great one in Italy.
Grazie.
All right. Enjoy. Thanks, everyone. See you around.
Bye-bye. Ciao.